How many Sierra online games are there? Answer, a lot. Seriously, in the microcomputer era there were 30 that come to mind, more if you add in the Japanese releases. And we are back doing yet another one. This time, Ulysses and the Golden Fleece. Released in 1981 on the Apple II series on floppy diskette for $34.95. Later, it was released for the Atari 8-bit systems in 1982 and the Commodore 64 in 1983, all on floppy. Calling this game Ulysses and the Golden Fleece seems weird to me. According to mythology, it was Jason and the Argonauts who went on the quest to find the Golden Fleece, not Ulysses. Sly way of telling you what the objective of this game is. See how I did that? And not only that, but having a good knowledge of the story of Jason and the Argonauts, as well as having read through the Iliad, the Odyssey, and of course, being familiar with a number of other classic Greek mythos, such as Perseus, is a real help with this game. A game which is described by Phil Weiswell in PC Magazine Volume 3, Number 5 of 20 March 1984 as having an obviously limited two-word noun-verb vocabulary, a trade-off for gorgeous graphics. And honestly, I could not possibly disagree more. The graphics in this game are borderline unusable, which is a very bad thing considering many times the game does not give you all the information you need in the tiny 4-line text box, but instead puts essential information in nearly indecipherable graphics. He also claims that the game should take the better part of a year to complete. If only it was that hard. We're going to stick with the Apple IIe for this game. It has the best seek and render speed of all the 3 possible options. Not only that, we're going to stick with better monitor settings. And, as you can see, like all Sierra games, it has a self-booting system. Ulysses and the Golden Fleece by Bob Davis and Ken Williams, DOS 3.3 version, von MG 22, March 1982. Please switch to side B and press return. There are numerous ways to go through this game, and I hope that the method I'm going to show you, that we're going to do together, is the most efficient method. I'm sure someone out there has a different way of going through this, though. So we are on a 3-way road in a small town in ancient Greece. There is a store to the west with a fence next to it. We are going to go east. Here in a lush green forest. We are going to go south from here. We are in a forest. We will go south again. Still in a forest. Go east. Still in a lush green forest. East. Sort of a maze. Wandering in a forest, and then go north. There is a chest here. So we want to get the chest. At the current time we are unable to open the chest, but we are going to want to carry this chest with us so that we can open it later. And now we are going to continue our walking through this maze, going west. Still in a forest. Then we will go south. In a lush green forest, go west again. In a forest. Then we want to go north. It's obvious we are still in a forest, yes? Go north again. And then we want to go west. And we are on a 3-way road in a small town in ancient Greece. There is a store to the west with a fence next to it. This is where we started, so we go south. You're on the outskirts of a small town. A road leads north and west. You see a castle in the distance to the west, so we're going to go west. You are in the king's vineyard. A road leads east and west. West again. You are outside the king's castle, facing west. Let's go west one more time. You are in the entry hall of the king's castle. There is a guard here. An exit is to the east. Let's talk to the guard. The guard asks, "Are you Ulysses?" We want to say yes. Good, the king is expecting you. I will escort you. I think you had better bow. You are in the king's throne room, standing before his majesty. So let's bow. The king accepts this humble gesture and says, there is a legendary fleece of gold far to the north. I give you some gold and silver and a ship to complete your voyage, and return home with the fleece. You take the gold and silver, then the guard escorts you back out of the palace. So now we need to go and buy some things, and to do that we have to go east, back through the vineyard, east again. This is the road that heads northwest on the outskirts where we can see the castle in the distance, so we want to go north. Again, taking us to where we started, and we are going to go to the small store to the west. You are in a store. There are doors to the east and north. There is a sign here. Let's read the sign. Mix or match any 7, 1 bag of silver. So it's telling us we can get 7 items for a bag of silver. There's wax, a sword, wine, there's 3 for 1 on the wine, wood, lantern, leather, flint, and rope. Now this game pulls a nasty one on us. I know that in previous games I have said, you run into a lantern, you get it. You need the lantern. Well, if you get the lantern here, it's the item that will prevent you from getting something else that you need. So we do not get a lantern. Instead, what we want to do is we want to buy the wax. The storekeeper asks, will that be all? And then it tells us where we are. From here we want to buy the sword. And then we want to buy the wine. And then we buy the wood. And we buy the leather, and the flint, and then the rope. So what we did was we bought the wax, the sword, the wine, the wood, the leather, the flint, and the rope. That's 7 items. That's 1 bag of silver. And as again I said, if you buy the lantern, you will not be able to complete this game. So let's pay the man. Can't afford any more. The storekeeper thanks you and takes a bag of silver. Now you do not have to say pay the man. It will automatically pay him if you leave, but I like being a stand-up person and paying. So from here we're going to go east, outside of the shop, taking us back to our starting location. And from there we are going to go north. This is a new territory for us. There seems to be a bottle floating here. You are on some docks. You see a tavern to the west and an ocean to the north. A road leads to the south. There is a guard here. So let's go west into the tavern. You're in a small tavern. Sometimes sailors wait here hoping for work. There are doors to the south and east. So here we're going to run into a little problem. If we go into the alley, which is our next step, without dropping the chest, we are going to be robbed. And we will lose the chest, and again we will not be able to complete the game. So we want to drop the chest, which oddly nobody in this tavern is going to steal it. We're going to go south, which takes us out into the alley. There is a gold coin here. It's near impossible to tell that that's a gold coin, but we are in an alley to the south. There is a tavern to the north and a store to the south. So let's get the coin, because this is how we're going to pay for something. And then go back inside and get our chest back. Have you noticed that we are currently carrying a chest, wax, sword, wine, wood, leather, flint, and rope, and now a coin without any problem? I never ran into any inventory problems in this game, so I do not think they had space to code a weight limitation like many of the previous games have. Now let's take that coin that we just picked up and hire a crew with it. Several men rush forward. I think one of them is Hercules, and take your bag of gold. You now have a full crew. Your crew is following you. We need the crew in order to sail the ship, which we're going to go to in just a moment. Go to the east. This is what we need the second coin for. There's still a bottle floating here. Our crew is following us. We're on the docks. There's a tavern to the west and an ocean to the north. A road leading to the south, and there is a guard here. What we want to do at this point is bribe the guard. So we're going to give coin to the guard. Are you attempting to bribe a guard? There seems to be a bottle floating here. We are going to say yes. The guard accepts the bribe and gives you a map. There seems to be a bottle floating here. So let's get ourselves the bottle. Let's look at the bottle. There is a note in it. Your crew is following you. You are on some docks. Here we want to get the note out of the bottle. Okay. And then read the note. I cannot pronounce that. Eclif, E-C-E-E-L-F. Echo, Charlie, Echo, Echo, Lima, Foxtrot. Now, remember that. Now let's look at the room again. This pulls us out of this view so we can see the guard again. And then we want to go east, which takes us over to our boat. Our crew is still following us. You are on the King's private dock. There is a great ship here. Go north, which puts us on the ship. You are on the deck of a ship. Cast off. You are on the ocean. So let's go north. And you're going to see we will be on the ocean for a little while. We're going to go west. Again, it's sort of like a little maze. Now an albatross swoops down close to your ship and drops a bag. We are lost in the ocean. We want to get the bag. Now, whatever you do, if you're playing along with me, do not go north from here or you will lose everything. Instead, we are going to go east. And then we will go south. And then east again. And here a giant condor has flown off course and slammed into your mast, killing itself and falling to your feet. We're still in the ocean. Let's get the condor. And then go east. You are approaching a hurricane, facing east. Through the storm you can barely make out an island. Now let's check our inventory. Some long leather straps, a rope, some lint, 25 pounds of wax, a skin of wine, a chest, a sword, some wooden planks, a note, a bag of gin, a skin of wine, an empty bottle, a giant condor, a map. So let's look at the map. From the storm, go north twice, east once, south once, west once, south once, west once, south once, east once, north once, east once, north once, east twice. Did you write that down? Because now we are going to do it. North, north, east, south, west, south, west, south, east, north, east, north, east, east. You are just offshore of the island of storms. Let's go to the island. That was quite a trip, wasn't it? Your crew stays behind. You are on the beach of an island of storm. You see a cave in the distance to the north. Your ship is anchored off the shore. So let's go east. You are in a jungle. South. You are wandering in a jungle. South. There is a bridle here. You are lost in a jungle. The moment we see this, we should be thinking of the story of Perseus. So let's get the bridle. It would help if I spelled it the proper bridle. Get bridle. And then we are going to go east and south. And there is a hole here in this tree. It tells us nothing about that in the text, but we need to look in the hole. There is a small pile of sparkling dust here. Let's get the dust. Then we are going to go on a little trip, going north, and then west, and then north, and then north, north, there's a lot of north in this. And we want to go up from here. You are at the base of a large mountain. You see a cave high up on top. Let's go up. You are atop a large mountain. There is a cave to the north. Let's go north. You hear a faint bubbling noise from somewhere deep in the tunnels. You are inside a cave. There are dimly lit tunnels leading north, east, and west. There is an exit to the south. We are going to go east. You're in a tunnel. Paths run north and west. Let's go north. You're in an open room. There is a spring here. Let's get the water. Okay, this water is magical and we will need it at a later point. Now we want to get out of here. And in order to do that, we first have to go south and then return north. If we go any other direction, we're going to keep returning back to this spot. So let's go south. And we're in a tunnel, path running north, south, east, and west, and go north. You're in a tunnel. There appears to be a pit in the floor. Paths lead south and west. Let's go down. You're in an underground passageway. There is a hole in the ceiling and a passage leading south. Phosphorus lines the wall. Let's go south. You're in an underground passageway. Paths lead north, south, and east. Let's go south again. And then we're going to go east. And then we'll go east again. And then south. And east. You may realize by now that the majority of the time spent in this game is spent mapping. It's not actually doing things. So they artificially increased the difficulty of the game by creating these massive areas that you have to traverse that have sort of mazes in between them. And though it may have been a proper or a good way to do things in the past, in modern concepts, this is just lazy programming. You're in an underground passageway. A path leads to the west. There is a deep fjord to the east. There are two rocks on the other side close together. At this point, what we have to do is not the most intuitive thing. What we need to do is make a lasso so that we can cross the ravine, but it doesn't respond to make lasso or throw rope or anything like that. What we need to do is tie the leather to what? To the leather. I keep wanting to put a "the" in there. Okay, you bind the leather straps securely together. You're in an underground passageway. A path leads to the west. There is a deep fjord to the east. There are two rocks on the other side, close together. If you make a mistake while typing out tie leather to leather and you may do the next command, it will just throw the leather down the ravine and you will lose it. So now we want to throw the leather. You throw the straps and they span the fjord, lodging securely between the two rocks on the other side. We're still in the underground passageway, and it is important to note that if you throw anything else, it will go down the fjord and be lost forever, and you will have to redo the game. Here, we're going to go east, which is across the fjord. You safely hoist yourself across the fjord. As soon as you cross, the straps come loose and fall into the fjord, lost forever. You are in an underground passageway. A path leads north. There is a deep fjord to the west. Let's head north. It's the only direction we can go. You're in an underground passageway. Paths lead south, east, and west. Let's go east, and then we want to go north. There is a dragon here. I think he means business. So let's give our jewels to the dragon. The dragon takes the gems and smiles. Dragons are very greedy. He likes the way the stones glisten. He happily walks away. So from here, let's go north. And then east. East again. And north. You are standing before a great canyon. There is a path leading south. At this point, knowledge of the story of Icarus comes in handy, because we need to pluck the condor. Okay, and then we want to use the wax on what? We want to put it and feathers. I don't know how to and a feather. Let's try that again. Use wax and feathers. Using some wax and feathers from the giant condor, you fashion some beautiful wings. You're standing before a great canyon. There is a path leading south. At this point, we want to fly. You leap over the edge of the canyon and soar gracefully to the far edge. You are in an underground passageway. There is a large fjord to the east. There is a hole with a rock next to it. Let's get the rock. Okay, there are some reins here. Let's get the reins. Again, we now have a bridle and reins. So here we want to go down the hole, and then go west, and west again, and then head south. This is Pluto, the god of the underworld. You are in an underground passageway. Paths lead north and south. Let's throw dust. You throw dust right into his eyes. He screams in terror and disappears through the tunnels howling. Now here we are going to go south, and then east, and east again. You are in an underground passageway facing south. A path leads west and one leads south into a great wall of fire. We need to get through this fire, and in order to do that, we're going to pour the wine, and not on the fire. It is asking where, but instead we are going to pour it on ourselves. Why this does not make us exceptionally flammable, I do not know. So we are going to go south. Drenched with wine, you safely pass through the fire. The wine has dried. You are in an underground passageway. There is a giant wall of fire directly in front of you. Let's go east. You're in an underground passageway. A path leads west. There is a large hole in the wall here. Let's go to the hole. And we are back out in the jungle. Let's go south, and then west. Taking us back to the beach. of the island of storms, the cave in the distance to the north, and our ship is anchored off the shore. Let's go to our ship. Now we need to take a little bit of a trip. We're going to go north. North again. West. See a passageway to the north. We're going to go through the passageway. We are in the pass. There are high cliffs to the east and west. Let's go north. One more time. You hear a thundering avalanche behind you. Suddenly King Neptune rises from the ocean depths. You are in the ocean. So we're going to use that magic water that we picked up before. So we pour the water. Where? In the ocean. As you pour the magic potion into the ocean, Neptune gasps and in a great upheaval plunges to the bottom of the sea. We are still in the ocean, and here we want to go north, continuing the direction we were going. And then we are going to go east. Let's go east again. You have sailed into the enchanted waters. You hear the wind. It seems to say something. Beware the sirens, E1N1. You are on an ocean. You see the island of the sirens to the north. Here again, having knowledge of Greek mythology helps. We need to go north again. The song of the sirens is drawing your ship toward the jagged rocks on the shore. You are west of the island of the siren. Now let's tie the rope. To what? To me. Do you mean to tie yourself to the mast? Yes. Okay. Next, we need to hold the wax. If we do not hold the wax, it will not get soft. Okay, the wax is now soft. What do you want to do with it? I want to wax the ears. You've put wax in the ears of all of your men. Do you want some? Bound to the mast, you are safe. The song of the sirens is terrifying, yet you struggle to go to them. They mimic the loved ones who have passed on and repeat a rhyme. Many search, but none will find. Priceless treasure left behind. Prisons steep, the keepers cruel. They built the key of the supple tool. We need to keep that final verse, they built the key of the supple tool, in mind for later in the game. You have drifted safely away from the island, and your men assume your normal business and discard the wax. You are in the ocean. The island of the sirens is safely behind you. Let's go west. And then go north. North again. Then west. Suddenly the ocean grows unusually calm. You are wandering in the ocean. You see an island to the north. Let's go north. You're in an ocean. You can see an island to the north. Let's go north again. You're on the ocean. You see an island to the north. So we are going to go north one more time. You are offshore a colossal island. Let's go to the island. Your crew is following you. You are on a small beach. The ocean is to your south. The jungle is too overgrown to see a clear path. We're going to go west. There's a lot of jungle in this. You are on an island beach. The ocean is to your south. Let's go west again. You are on the edge of a beach. The ocean is to your south. Dense jungle seems to engulf the island. We're going to go north. Crew is still following us. Why do they follow us on this trip, but not on the other island? You're in a small clearing of the jungle. There is a large tree here. We're going to look at the tree. There is something carved on its trunk. Your crew is following you. You're in a small clearing of the jungle. There is a large tree here. Let's read the carving. says Seven Seas. Notice it's a different spelling of 7 seas. Your crew is following you. You're in a small clearing of the jungle. There is a large tree here. Let's look back into the regular view, and then we are going to go east. Following us still, we're in a dense jungle. Then go north. East. And north. Your crew is following you. Your men are getting very hungry and are starting to grumble. I think you had better find some food. You are in a jungle. You see a clearing to the west. So we go west. Your crew is following you. You are standing in some ruin. There is a large cage here. We are going to say 7 seas. As you speak the word, the skies thunder and the harpies scatter, fearing for their lives. You are standing in some ruins. There is a large cage here. Let's open the cage. The man is very grateful to you and offers you this enchanted mallet. Let's get the mallet. At this point, we just need to go east, east again, south, east. You hear a sheep's cry from inside the cave. You are standing in front of a very large cave entrance. Let's go north. As you enter, you hear a loud laugh. A Cyclops has come in and caught you pilfering his sheep. He blocks the opening with a giant boulder. We are inside a gigantic cave. There is an exit to the south. So we want to use some wine and give the wine to the Cyclops, who takes the wine and samples it cautiously, then takes it down in one gulp and says, "This is good. What do you need to make me more?" We tell him that we need grapes. The Cyclops says, "I will return shortly." Then he leaves, blocking the entrance behind him. There is a small tree trunk on the floor. Your crew is following you. You are inside a gigantic cave, and there is an exit to the south. As you can see, this is not the best drawing of the game. We want to get the trunk, and then sharpen the trunk. Using your sword, you sharpen the end of the tree trunk to a point and await the Cyclops' return. Your crew is following you. You're inside a gigantic cave, and there is an exit to the south. At this point, we need to just pass time. So let's look, and we see nothing special. And look again. The Cyclops returns and gives you the grapes to make him wine with, then stands there impatiently. Now we're going to make the most non-intuitive wine ever. It does not have time to ferment, but we're going to make it anyway. We're going to make wine. The Cyclops gulps it down and roars, "More wine." So we make more wine. And he does it again. We're going to make more wine. And make more wine. The Cyclops passes out, dead drunk. At this point, we want to use the trunk. Where? In eye. We're going to jab the Cyclops in the eye. You and your men plunge the sharpened tree into the Cyclops' eye. In a blind rage, he picks up the boulder and heaves it at you, but missing. He then stumbles out of the cave into the jungle. Your crew is following you. A few sheep are following you. You are inside a gigantic cave. There is an exit to the south. Here we need to heed the warning earlier about food, because if we do not get food and feed our crew soon, they're going to kill us and eat us. So instead, let's kill the sheep. With your sword, you kill the sheep and prepare them for eating. There are some dead sheep here. You're still inside a gigantic cave, and there's an exit to the south. At this point, let's start a fire. Using the flint and some wooden planks, you start a roaring fire. There are some dead sheep here. Let's cook the sheep. You and your men roast the sheep over an open fire, and then eat the sheep. You and your men gorge yourselves on the roast mutton. Completely satisfied, you continue on. Since there is only an exit to the south, we're going to head south. You're standing in front of a very large cave entrance. Let's go south again. We are back in a dense jungle. Let's go east. You are stumbling through the jungle, and go north. Your crew is following you. There is a band of skeletons here. You are in a large clearing. Now we are going to open the chest. And in order to do that, we need to use a word from earlier that I could not pronounce. The chest vibrates slightly, then the lid pops open. Your crew is following you. There is a band of skeletons following you. You are in a large clearing. So let's look at the chest. There is an enchanted sword here. Your crew is following you. There is a band of skeletons following you. It's a very small sword or a very large chest. Let's get the sword. Then look back in the clearing. Skeletons are just following us. They're not doing anything. Now, for some reason, during this next part, I've always been imagining the stop-motion sequence from Jason and the Argonauts. We want to kill the skeletons. With what? We are going to kill them with the sword. Using the magical sword, you quickly hack the skeletons to pieces. Their bones turn to dust and blow away. Really, if you have the chance, look up on Google Jason and the Argonauts skeletons and just watch the fight. Even if it's an animated GIF, if it is a video on YouTube or whatever, it is a beautiful early stop-motion filming. Let's go east. Which puts us back into the jungle. There are cliffs far off to the north. We're going to go north to go to those cliffs. You're in the jungle. There's a cliff just ahead of you. Go north again. You hear a horse neigh nearby. You are in front of an unclimbable cliff. And remembering the siren song, we use the magic word. You hear a deafening roar. Then the cliff opens before you. Your crew is following you. You're in front of an unclimbable cliff. We want to go north inside. There is a loud rumble, and the cliff closes forever. In a small valley surrounded by steep cliffs, there is a tree here surrounded by giant thorns. So as you see, Supplitude opened a hole in the cliff and we were able to walk through. Once we got through, it closed. Unfortunately, we cannot use Supplitude to open it back up. But we are lucky. There is a Pegasus in front of us. First thing we need to do is give the reins to the Pegasus. Notice the reins are now on the graphic. And then we want to give the bridle. And now it's got a bridle over his snout. Now we want to use the hammer. And as you strike the chain with the enchanted mallet, they both disappear. You are in a small valley surrounded by steep cliffs. There is a tree here surrounded by giant thorns. We need to mount the Pegasus. So we are going to mount the horse. As you mount Pegasus, he takes off with a great leap, flying you over the thorns and sets down next to a tree. You're in a small valley next to a tree. Now you may not realize this, but right in front of us is the fleece. And it does not tell us there's a fleece, we just have to stumble around until we figure it out. Luckily, we are doing this together, and we already know that we want to get the fleece. You're in a small valley next to a tree. Let's mount the horse again. Pegasus swiftly leaps into the air, carrying you safely home to the king, then leave, where your crew follows by sea. You are outside of the king's castle, facing west. Let's go west. back to the guard. So we're in the entry hall of the king's castle, and there's a guard here and an exit to the east. Let's talk to the guard again. The guard asks, "Are you Ulysses?" Say yes. Good. The king is expecting you. I will escort you. You are in the king's throne room, standing before his majesty. Let's give him the fleece. The king delightedly takes the fleece, and he awards you a kingdom of your own and 300 bags of gold. Congratulations! You have successfully completed Ulysses and the Golden Fleece. You are hereby declared a Level 2 adventurer. Thank you for playing Ulysses and the Golden Fleece. You hear me use the term artificially inflated difficulty a lot in these games. In this game, Ulysses and the Golden Fleece is by far the most egregious offender. I mean that in the most positive way I possibly can say it here. It's just, in this game, you really do not do much actual puzzle solving or many action. What you do is a lot of mazes and maze-like paths, which take extra time to map out and thereby add to the time the publishers can claim it would take to solve, which in the 70s and 80s was the big selling point, claims of the amount of time it took to solve. Instead, it would have been nice if they'd shave some of the rooms down a little, maybe shorten a maze or two, and give us some more puzzles or interactions with our environment. Interactions beyond just, "Oh, that's a nice forest. So is that one. Oh, look, another forest plate." I understand why this game uses the name Ulysses instead of Jason and the Argonaut, to avoid confusion and possible copyright concerns with the previously mentioned movie. I am going to forgive them that, which means, overall, I'm going to say, if you're hard up for a game, then go ahead and play this one. The mapping will keep you busy for a while, but do not expect much from it. Especially if you know your Greek mythology, because you will already know how almost every puzzle is solved. Puzzle? My puzzle? My puzzle is how do I get you to like and or subscribe to my channel, if you've not already, I mean. It's beneficial to us both, and really only takes you a click to do, and you know you want to. You can also leave a comment, or send me a message. I try to get to them as soon as possible, unless I'm on vacation. Then they take a week or so. Same with requests. This channel lives on requests, so give me one or two, and I'll look into them. Until then, however, please, be kind to each other, make the world a better place, and I look forward to our next adventure together.